More so like, if you're going to have this conversation, just know that I'm not going to be a part of it.
Ooh.
If you're going to decide, like you were saying about family and your daughter, if you're going to take these liberties,
Yeah.
then me and my daughter are going to withdraw ourselves.
Yeah.
So it's something that you set where I have control of my own actions. And if you make this unsecure, unsafe space, then I'm gonna remove myself.
Yeah.
And I found that very interesting because I used to be like, I'm gonna set these limits, and if you cross this line, but it's not really how it works. You can't control whether or not somebody's gonna overstep, otherwise we wouldn't need boundaries.
Yeah, the boundary is basically saying, I'm giving you warning that this is as far as I will go, or this is as far as I can handle or manage. And at that point, don't be surprised by what happens next. Hey guys, welcome back to Lex Talk. I am back with Kimoy for another installment of Key Convos. And today we are going to talk about boundaries in relationships. So one thing that I have learned as I get older, this gets more and more tricky because you go through different seasons in life, friendships. I definitely going from like single to in a relationship to married to a mom to divorce. Like each one of those changes like what relationships look like and the place that people can hold in my life. And it's high key awkward changing those and knowing how to navigate that space without entirely losing relationships. So I guess for me, I don't know, boundaries are a necessary evil. It's something that you have to establish in order to keep people on the same page. To me, it's what you do to make sure nobody's feelings get hurt. Because without them, somebody crosses a line that makes you in turn act a way that you don't want to act. But you have to in order to protect your own space or peace or energy. And I think that with family, it can be, like I've grown up, so I need you to respect that you are no longer able to just have free reign over my life. Or, hey, this is my child and I love you, but it ain't your child. Or with friends, recognizing when, all right, I love you, but I got my own life to take care of. So this is what I can give you and this is what I can't. So to me, it's just having that conversation up front to make sure it doesn't get super awkward later down the road. But it is super uncomfortable to do that without anything precipitating the need for that conversation. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on boundaries?
I agree. Boundaries are very necessary. And you said a few things that I thought were real interesting. So at one point you said that they're set up there so people don't cross certain lines. And as I was doing research on boundaries, a big misconception that therapists like to get across to their patients is that boundaries only work for you. You can only set your own boundaries. You can't control what other people do, so you can't control if they're going to cross a line. So when you set a boundary, it's more so like, if you're going to have this conversation, just know that I'm not going to be a part of it.
Ooh.
If you're going to decide, like you were saying about family and your daughter, if you're going to take these liberties, then me and my daughter are going to withdraw ourselves.
Yeah.
So it's something that you set where I have control of my own actions. And if you make this unsecure, unsafe space, then I'm going to remove myself.
Yeah.
And I found that very interesting because I used to be like, I'm going to set these limits, and if you cross this line, but it's not really how it works. You can't control whether or not somebody's gonna overstep. Otherwise, we wouldn't need boundaries.
Yeah, the boundary is basically saying, I'm giving you warning that this is as far as I will go, or this is as far as I can handle or manage. And at that point, don't be surprised by what happens next, kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah, but I think it's hard because it's like there's like the gray area that's on either side of the boundary, like how far you'll go or how far you won't go, and then like actually enforcing that boundary. That's where it gets hard. That's where the relationship is tested. That's where you feel like the rubber meets the road. Like it's all fun and games because a lot of times people don't really hear you when you put that boundary in place. It's once it needs to be enforced that the conversation really takes shape.
Well, another thing that I learned in my studies is that we try to enforce our new boundaries in important relationships first. Which, if we had those boundaries in place to begin with, we wouldn't need to set them. So we've developed a habit. So, for example, like family, our moms and dads, we want to, hey, this is my line. The problem is we've been doing this for however long you've been around. And so it's a lot harder to use those relationships to enforce your boundaries first.
Yeah.
So a lot of times they say we got to work up to that with our less, not to say, but our less prioritized relationships where it's like, I can't do that. I won't do that. I'm going to. And then we can be like, hey,
yeah,
I know we've been doing this for a long time, but I can't anymore. So if this is what you want to do, just know
that
it's gonna be
conversation
without
is
me.
so fucking weird to have. It's so hard.
Yeah.
It's so hard. And then I know for me, I be backtracking like a motherfucker. Like I don't, because it takes trying it to see where I really stand. And sometimes I'm really quick to, I don't know if it's forgive or I don't hold grudges. Sometimes I do. With my ex, I guess I do. But like for a lot of little things, I just move on quickly. So for instance, like I was annoyed when like people would feed my daughter certain things when I wasn't like around her or whatever. Like she don't need that. And so in my mind, it was a hard boundary. But over time, it's like, girl, she's fine, So it's like, I don't want to draw these hard lines in the sand and be just, completely rigid on certain things. And so I struggle when it's time to draw a line in the sand, or once you realize, girl, shut up, it's hard to go back. So I am very slow to put out there, like, this is the way it has to be. Because I always feel like there's room for dissension or maybe a change of heart or I don't know.
But then that's why so I'm not a proponent of like hard, like absolutely definite, because like you said, anything can happen.
Yeah.
But I am definitely into stages, levels.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Certain people, you can, all right, I'm going to tell you this. I don't like this. I'm introducing you to it. Okay, this might be new for you, so I'm going to tell you it again. It's okay. I love you. So we're going to have this conversation.
Yeah.
So you're going to keep doing this after I told you. I reminded you.
Yeah.
And you're going to keep doing it. So I'm just going to let you know, I'm probably going to be around less because I have more respect for me than you do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so then that's how I approach it. I'm never just going to one day be like, I don't talk to you no more.
Yeah.
I'm going to have given you warning, steps, opportunity. Because a lot of times people do stuff out of habit and we don't even know we do it.
Yeah.
And so then you got to give people that opportunity to be like, oh, I got to make a conscious effort because I do this automatically.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hard part, is because most of the time these are typically relationships with people that you really care about. And for me, just understanding the humanity of people, like I'll I'll put the boundary in place. They cross it. I take a few steps back, but I always keep coming back to like give them the opportunity to grow, even if it doesn't serve, if it doesn't happen. Just because it's a relationship that means, I'm mostly thinking right now like of my mom. Like there's a lot of things that she might do that I don't like or cross boundaries. That's just what moms do, and I absolutely plan to do this to my daughter. Like, I absolutely am going to make every effort to give her the same hell. But I know that it's not coming from, like, I know she's my biggest cheerleader. So, it's, that there's that love there, but the humanity in us all just makes us do things that are, difficult sometimes. So it's like those boundaries are there, but at the end of the day, it sucks because I feel like we both suffer because the relationship isn't able to, having to step back from that relationship is a really hard thing to do. But at the same time, you got to protect. For me, it's about protecting that peace, whatever way I can. But also, I love you. I'm still gonna let you,
give you the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I'm still gonna be back.
Yeah.
But I need a break. That's kind of my boundaries are often that, like a break until either I get enough distance to not feel so strongly about it, or you learn to do better, and then we'll try it again, and then you fuck up and we'll go back again.
Well, I guess essentially if we put the onus on our own actions, like that would be a positive exchange of a healthy boundary. We've gotten to a place where I need space, so I'm gonna take the space. I love you. Our relationship is still our relationship, but
yeah,
I'm just going to take a day or two to process, decompress, and then warm back up to you.
Yeah. So it's definitely easier in these new, like, it's so funny, like dating, it's great because you get to be a new person with each person. It's like, here go all of my healthy boundaries, lay them out. And then you realize you forgot one 3 months down the line. It's like, shit, should have established that. I don't know how to do it in the relationships that are established very well. I definitely don't know how to do it well. It's always because you're thinking about this all the time because it's bothering you, you know? So now I'm like rehearsing it in my hand, like, all right, how do I come at them? And it's obviously rehearsed, staged, and they feel like you have just ambushed them. And I've only done this a couple times in my life and it has never gone well. Has it ever gone well for you? Have you ever established boundaries in an existing relationship and it worked out?
Like right off the bat? I would say yes.
Or it even worked out long term because
So my best friend is a woman, right? And we used to literally every day, if we were both off of work, we're getting together.
Yeah.
We've celebrated multiple birthdays, Christmas, all you can think of. She got in a relationship, right?
Yeah.
And as time progressed and the severity of their relationship got more serious, like I took a step back.
Yeah.
I wasn't going over as much. I still go over. Like I befriended her significant other. Like we cool, all that. But for me, it was, okay, whatever role that I played, I have to be open to the fact that someone else has to step in.
Yeah. So
I have to
fall back,
take a lesser role. And so our relationship is fine.
Okay.
Like, I have a god baby on the way. Shout out, True. But I would think that was probably a time where I've had to, because then again, boundaries are about our own actions, take responsibility to the fact that, whereas I might hit you up and be like, what are you doing? Maybe not as often.
Yeah.
Because you have time to spend with someone else.
Yeah. Yeah. That is a very hard thing with friendships. Because even with my girlfriends, when they get in relationships, having been in one, like I know that their priority's going to shift, like I can't just be popping up. I can't just be calling all the time tonight. Like at the end of the day, they have somebody else's feelings that they're more accountable to than mine. And especially as we get older and everybody got kids, jobs, work, all this stuff that they have to juggle, first of all, they were never responsible for my feelings and being there for me. It's just something that we do when we can. But yeah, I definitely recognize it's like, all right, let me go ahead and shift to the next friend to be able to call every time I'm going through something or want to go out. But I do find myself, I know when I was in a relationship, feeling that like bit of obligation to kind of be there. It was a hard thing establishing those boundaries when you shift from being able to be that sounding board for a friend to being like, but I gotta go tend to him or what, it's just like, I'm sorry, but you feel kind of bad about it.
I really think that is a very delicate, line to tread. I feel two ways about it. And coming from a culture that's very like community oriented and community based, I'm all for see how I was able to take a step back.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until like you could look and see, okay, like there's something serious there.
Right.
Because a lot of times you'll take a step back for somebody who's not.
Yeah. Oh, he gone already. Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that also creates a type of friction when it's like
friction between who?
You and can cause a friction between you and your friend, depending on how the boundaries were set. So let's say let's use my scenario for situation, right? My friend gets in a relationship and now she's just like, hey, we can't hang out no more. But then after 4 months, he's gone. And now it's like, hey, friend.
Yeah.
Right. But like I said, because we come from such a community-based culture.
Yeah.
You want that person to be around your friends so that your friends know who you are. They've been around. They can spot things that you might be blind to because of how close you are to the situation.
For sure. That's definitely a benefit of having like friends part of your relationship. But I was thinking of when I first got with my ex, like I had a close male friend. I wouldn't say it was romantic, but it could have been. There's nothing that was really stopping it. It just, we hadn't gone there. But basically our history was clean. So it was not something that people could say like, girl. Yeah. But my ex was not comfortable with it. And like, he was invited to our wedding. Like you're invited. But it was a very weird thing the moment that he voiced his discomfort, and I had to dead that relationship. I didn't have to dead it completely. Like we can still talk about everything, but I can't just be popping up at your house on the weekend, just like chilling,
hanging out.
Right. But just that conversation alone made it very weird. And I resisted it for a while. Because of that same reason, I didn't want to like end a whole real friendship prematurely. And it was like one of my only like Christian male friends like that I felt like comfortable and safe around. I was like, he's literally done nothing wrong. Yeah. But it was something that I learned of just and I don't know that I learned it as like this is the way that everybody should operate, but for that relationship it was necessary, learning that his feelings about that person, that insecurity, regardless of where it's from or whether it's right or wrong, that's how he feels. And it comes to a point where you have to judge, okay, which relationship means more to you. And it's weird because the friendship definitely meant a lot, but this, I don't know. I mean, he became my husband, but I didn't know it at that time, and it was a very difficult thing. So it took a while, but at that point, I'm just glad that I didn't have a whole bunch of close male friends.
That you would have had to cut them.
I would have had to cut them all
Let
off.
me ask you a question. Because I had a similar scenario, and when I look back, something stands out to me. And so in the early stages, did you take the time to cultivate an intimate relationship between those two, between
the friend and my ex? Not real. So I wasn't friends with him like you were probably with your best friend. It's not like we were hanging out every day because I didn't live close to him anymore. But when we did live in the same area, like I'm liable to pop up, hang out on his couch. Hey, mom, that kind of thing. But in this phase of my life, I was, away in grad school and all this other stuff. But he was always somebody that I could count on. If I was going through something, I would definitely reach out. So the cultivation of the relationship was, hey, this is my friend, what so-and-so, like, that kind of thing. Like outside of that, there wasn't much. It's not like I was calling him on weeknights or anything. It was more like if he were to reach out to me, we're gonna talk.
Right.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it wasn't like we were besties or anything because of distance, but we were really close when we were in the same proximity.
Okay. I'm really ask because like I had a similar situation. Like I said, my best friend and my ex. I did a poor job cultivating that relationship. And so there was a lot of friction there, and it spoiled into our relationship all the time. And it wasn't like anything was going on between me and my friend. Like that was strictly a platonic relationship.
Yeah.
Not even if like that was never a thought, but even still, like, because I spent so much time and they had been around through previous relationships that it was just like, that's my dog. But I understand from being on the opposite side, from seeing the maturation of their relationship, that that's what she did. She cultivated an intimate relationship between her significant other and her friend to the point where, like, I might call him and be like, what we doing? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And she'll be like, whose friend are you? And so it's just like, you know, I just feel like that is one thing, you know, when it comes to relationships, that if you're going to have that friendship of the opposite sex, you really have to take the time to cultivate a relationship so that your significant other doesn't feel away.
So that's something like, yes, I think perhaps cultivating that relationship might definitely dispel a lot of the insecurities, but there's something to be said about it's not, what is it between a cross-sex relationship, like not pillow talk, but I find something dangerous about talking about that that partner, romantic partner, with someone of that sex, whatever you're into or whatever. Like that feeling of, I'm talking to another man about the problems I'm having with my man, for him to be the shoulder that I cry on or lean on. Like that is, to me, it can be a very dangerous space depending on your emotional intelligence, awareness, like recognizing that does create an open door for them to, if they were interested in you, to swoop right in and do all the things that this person is not. Now, of course, it just depends on like the strength of that friendship, like whether it's truly a friendship or if it's something more. But that, to me, the danger is because a lot of times the friendship is just one kiss away from being a whole, like, you know, relationship, marriage, you know, like when you find somebody that you vibe with like that, if there's any kind of attraction, especially with women, like we spend enough time with you, we in love. That's it.
And I find that so interesting. I do, because you hear that a lot. And then I think too, when I've ever wanted advice on someone that I was dealing with, I knew not to go ask my homeboys. I knew not to go ask them. So that's why I think it's interesting that like there is a hesitation to want to speak to someone of the opposite sex about a situation that's going on, because who else is going to give you good
that
advice
view.
than
Right.
a male in a female's conceit, or a female in the male's
I agree.
so like I've always, you know, hey, what do you think? I'm thinking about doing this, or, you know, but I feel like certain friendships, now I'm not gonna say that there haven't been friends that I've had that I wasn't attracted to, and like you said, you know, one kiss away, so we could be in a relationship. But then there were others where it was like, nah, like this my dog. You know what I'm saying? Like we done been through too much as friends to ever feel like that would be a necessary thing, because relationships, as we see, don't last.
I don't know. I feel like it's possible to have that relationship, but that to me is a rarity. It's a rarity because it requires at least one of the people in the relationship to have that clarity and keep things status
platonic.
quo. But and that's just to make sure that nothing is overstepped on their part. But that's not to say that the other person that might be attracted isn't going to go too far. That just means that you're not going to give into it.
Right.
And to have both people on that same tip, you just can't trust that. Like I always say, like, you know what you're going to do, but you don't know what the other person's going to do. So it's protecting your relationship because you don't know. As faithful as you may be, that don't mean that she cares about your faithfulness.
But then it goes back. That's why healthy boundaries are set by us in our own actions. Because if I got a friend and I'm in a relationship and they try something, then I got to remove myself from that situation. Otherwise, I'm putting everything, you know what I'm saying, if my boundaries are healthy for myself.
The thing about that, though, is it puts you in a position to test yourself at a very vulnerable time. Like when you are having an issue with your significant other and you're just upset and you're going to this person to vent and you're looking for that kind of consolation or whether it's validation, whatever it is, you're at a place where you are receptive to affection or somebody coming in to fill that void that your partner is not able to meet at that moment. And whether it's an emotional kind of comfort that they're providing, like your guard is down. And again, it may not be that it becomes some kind of physical transgression, but emotional transgression is even worse half the time. You know, that's the thing that's lasting, that evolves into something much bigger a lot of the times. So it's like, I never want to, I never like to pretend like I'm above anything. Because the right nigga walk past, I just might twice. Who knows? So I don't, and I think it's just a healthy way of understanding anything can happen. Let me not just completely let my guard down and then be surprised or caught off guard when I don't know how we ended up in this bed. I don't know what happened.
Anything can happen, but I ain't gonna do anything. I just feel like, you know, that's what it boils down to at the end of the day. Because we know we can't control nothing nobody do in any aspect of any part.
Yeah.
So if I understand this is my line, then this is my line. But if you decide to make that choice, then that was going to be your choice regardless.
Yeah, it probably was. It's just they looking for that perfect time. And you be like, oh, what he did? What she did?
I mean, I would have to step on a few, you know what I'm saying? In a moment of vulnerability. What you doing? What you doing?
Yeah. But honestly, once it gets there, it's like, like how do you then go and tell your partner, your person, like, yeah.
You just gotta say, right. Hey, look, man. I was mad at you, and I went to go talk to him, and then I had to be like,
"Yeah, you was right. That hoe was tripping."
And sometimes, you know, like that's what it be.
Yeah,
we can see. The other person can see. Sometimes it be that, but other times, you know, that might just be the friend.
Yeah, I don't know. It's all of it's confusing because with my ex, he was very like over the top, and maybe that should have been a sign. I don't know if he did anything, but very over the top, making sure not to have contact with women of the opposite sex, like alone, or like we went to a bar and the bartender asked him for his ID and he was like tripping, like she went, and I was like, she actually just needs it. You're being real extra right now. But that was also like years into our marriage where, I mean, I was so comfortable that Beyonce could walk past and I'd be like, you don't want her. He's fine.
Right.
He ain't gonna do nothing. But that also does put like blinders up. So he could have literally done anything. But I also think it's just a product of my personality. I'm not the type to be, if I'm worried about you, I don't want to be with you. That's too much work. I don't want to have to worry about that. But I do find that like I felt that that was just something that we didn't have to worry about in our relationship. Or at least not to say that we didn't have to worry about each other cheating. We didn't have to worry about those arguments because we just deaded all that. And it was just one less thing to have to fight about regularly. I'm just grateful that neither of us was the type to have a whole bunch of opposite sex friendships that we had to like deal
Cut
with.
yeah.
But it sure was a whole lot easier. It wasn't like if there was a girl that popped up, like she was the only one. It was new. Let's go ahead and talk about it. But at that point, I wasn't even worried anymore. So I find it very difficult for a lot of people to deal with their person having a friend of the opposite sex, because you know when y'all going through it that they's talking about you. You know it. And it's just like, fuck that hoe. Right. It just feels you feel some type of way. Like y'all are enemies.
No, I can speak on that.
Yeah.
So when I started college, right, I had this mentality. If I can make 5 women friends, right? 5 just cool friends.
Okay.
That they probably have 5 female friends. So by an extension,
you have
25 different women. So then, you know, as into who I'm going to pick from as a potential. So
you just slutting these streets.
No, it's just math. Probability. You got a better chance.
It's just math.
It's just math. You got a better chance. And so in college, I did have a lot of women friends, and it was a issue for a lot of my significant others.
Yeah. Naturally.
What I would try and do is integrate them into the friend group.
I'm trying to be part of your damn, what is it?
Because let's just say, right, I got 5 female friends. You, at least 1 or 2 of them, they gonna start to like you more than me. So you're gonna be able to pull 2 of my friends. So now you got somebody on the inside could be like,
nah, you never trust that.
This nigga do.
Never trust that.
But I've seen it.
Yeah, but you always feel in the back of your mind that they his friends first.
That's true. You think that, but that's why I feel like once you start to really cultivate a relationship with people, you know what their intentions are. You know what kind of person they are. You know if they gonna lie. You know if they not. Because I know if I need somebody to give a story, it's certain friends I'm not calling.
Yeah.
Because they gonna tell you, nah, he wasn't here. Nah, he said he was when he went.
Yeah.
But I got other friends where it's like, yeah, no, he was right here on the couch.
Yeah.
So I just feel like once you, as a person, we're able to tell, we've seen enough types of people to know a person's personality, to be like, all right, you gonna lie, but you gonna tell the truth. So I'm gonna ask you. Because in my family, like my sister after me, if you want the truth how it happened, ask her.
Yeah.
Everybody else gonna throw a little spin or bias. She gonna tell you whether it make her look good or not. She don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
but how was it though what was the issue? I know there had to be issues in the starting of your like best friend's relationship, like, or no? Was it always smooth?
I think that they had the privilege of that it was long distance in the beginning.
Okay.
That
he couldn't really do.
He heard about me. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, what you doing? Oh, you know, we getting drinks, or you know, we whatever. And so it was a constant understanding that okay, you're around. This person's around. And then like when we finally met, I think the first time we met, we went on a double date. Yeah. So like
that helps as a double date,
right? It wasn't like I'm playing third wheel. So he got to see me interact with somebody as he
was with
and
her.
So then I just started talking to him.
Yeah.
You're gonna be around, so like, what's good? What you like to do? You hoop? You know what I'm saying? You play game.
I wonder though.
That's how we kind of just built a relationship. And like I said, because he moved to Florida. Yeah. So like, I'd be like, hey, we going out. And we go out.
I mean, that's now. I wonder if there was some friction in the beginning, because I haven't been around a man that's like every time and it's even weird when you mention the other guy's name. It's like, yeah, my friend Peter. That ain't a woman. You know, it's like you get that look. And there was one of the guys that I was dating, like definitely, because I have a friend it was actually a mutual friend of my ex and I. So we met under, we met when we were married. So like it was always, he respected that boundary and always has. But now going into these relationships, it feels weird because I'm having to introduce him and I'm no longer attached with my ex. So it feels like it's just this outside friendship with the male, and it's not, but they're very intimidated. And it's like, cause we would go out for drinks and stuff and they just be like, you going out with your boyfriend? You going out with your boyfriend? You know, that kind of energy. Yeah. It's very common to get that from a guy. Like they just don't be comfortable.
I feel like people lost I grew up in a time where we competed. There wasn't no participation trophies. I got cut from the basketball team plenty of times. So like, I understand what rejection is. I'm going to compete.
As you talking about in a relationship? In
a relationship. Like
that's dope.
If we're moving towards a relationship, like we're not exclusive yet.
Yeah.
Just like I'm interested, I'm sure.
Yeah.
There are other interested, well qualified candidates.
Yeah.
So I'm going to compete until I win or lose.
Yeah.
Then you start over. But in today's society,
we're not trying to compete.
People are not trying to compete. They're just like, I'm here.
Yeah.
I got everything. So you either gonna pick me or you not. And it's 7 billion people in the world.
Listen.
Maybe stand out.
All right, guys. Yep, you guessed it. That's all for today, folks. You're gonna have to catch the rest of this conversation next week, airing Wednesday. And trust me, it gets better. It is good, y'all. So thank you so much, as always, for rocking with me, rocking with us. Please like, share, subscribe to the channel, y'all. Tell your friends about me. If you have anybody that might want to listen to this, go ahead and share it, y'all. Go ahead and share it. If you listen to the podcast by audio, actually they have video as well, but if you like podcasts more, check us out on all the streaming platforms. That's Anchor FM, that's Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts. Wherever you look for podcasts, we're there. If you are on social media, that's Twitter, that's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Check me out. It's Alexis, _Alexis. So that's ISS_Alexis. No E, no I, double S. If that isn't confusing enough, just check the link in the description for all of my handles. And yeah, I can't wait to see you guys in another episode. Bye.